Hey guys, welcome back to the Obi Thor Alliance. What are we doing today, Jacob?
We are reviewing Avatar: The Way of the Water.
So if you want to find out what we thought about Avatar: Way of the Water, stick around. Okay, so how do we summarize this? It's the second installment of the Avatar franchise.
With 3 more coming.
Yeah, it carries on from the original. Basically, we're still on Pandora. In the end of the first movie were believed to be defeated and retreated back to Earth, but
Of course not.
But they're back again. The original villain has been reincarnated as an avatar. They've somehow managed to defy science and create this avatar for him. And the whole movie basically follows him seeking revenge on our main hero and stopping at no end to seek revenge and basically just kill him with some random little added side stories of why the humans are still on this planet and what they're trying to achieve there. Basically, he now has a family. We've got a few kids added, which gives some plotline. And as the name suggests, it's basically all in the water. So it's just James Cameron showing off some visual effects in the water, getting to see some familiar creatures we have on Earth with a somewhat twist to them. And very visual, very appealing. Without giving away too much about the movie, have I missed anything there?
A lot of people have said this has been a family sort of movie, and I do agree with that, but unfortunately children don't really stand out. They're really stereotypes and not really that interesting. Yeah.
So we got a cat and mouse chase. We've introduced the water.
Fresh out of water.
Yeah, and of course the water adds the visual appeal to it, plus it adds, the bulk of the storyline. The movie is quite long at 3 hours. About an hour and a half of that is just pretty pictures with no storyline. And basically we've set up for what's going to be the next installment. Haven't really given away what it is because, they don't want to give away too much. But you can see that they're probably going to continue on with this battle between humans, the Na'vi people, and, eventually the humans will leave them alone, as you assume it's leading towards. Moving into some scores, what did you give it, Jacob?
Out of 100%, I gave it 65%. Don't get me wrong, I love visuals and love things looking amazing, and that's the highest score it got, but I'm a person that prefers plot. It just suffers with the plot, unfortunately. The best way I look at Avatar: The Way of the Water is that it does the world building better than the first one, but unfortunately the first one didn't really do a good job of that, and they have to explain a new tribe when the first one should have done that. And the way I look at it is that Avatar 2 and Avatar 1 are really the same movie, but just in different parts. So really, the first movie, or the condensed version, is 6 hours of watching one movie. So if you like that, I guess you'll like both movies. The children are just too generic. You basically got everyone has a child and they're not really that amazing. Talk more about them in the spoil discussion. Watched the visuals in 3D, and I think that's why people are enjoying the movie more. I think it's a lot better than the first movie, but I think plot is where movies need to grab me personally, and unfortunately it didn't do that. We're getting 3 more Avatars, so I hope they dig more into the main reason why Earth is there is because our planet is dying, and talk more about that, but we'll see.
I'm agreeing with Jacob. I've given it a bit lower than that. I've gone with 56%. Again, I don't think it was a bad movie. I just think it lacks in a lot of areas. I think it was a movie that ultimately didn't need to exist. I was quite harsh on the first movie when it came out, but when I saw it a second time recently, I actually came to like it. I think it only really needed one movie, but I think now it's just a money grab. I think James Cameron and his team sat down and they said, how can we make money? And they've gone, we need to make it pretty. And they go, what's pretty? Water. He's gone, water, put water on the whiteboard, put a big circle around. They go, how can we make a storyline about water? And someone's gone, well, water tribe, yeah, sounds good. Okay, we need to give a reason. Oh, this and we need that. And let's just add some kids. And it's backwards writing. It just seemed that they desperately wanted water to be the main feature of the movie, and then they wrote a story around the water. opposed to writing a good story and then adding water. It's just a backwards way of doing it. I think it really showed lots of, plot twist, unnecessarily scenes, just trying to show off the visual effects. But then when there was scenes, with explosions and fighting, that really looked low budget because it seemed like they spent the whole budget on trying to make these whales look cool. So they've really blown it there. The first movie set up a cool story. Science has allowed them to create these avatars you can control. We've got, one person who was lucky enough to be able to use the tree of life to kind of help him stay as an avatar, even though his human body died. I'm cool with that. But now it's just gone beyond that. They can do all these amazing things, but in the future, they still don't have a cure for epilepsy. So if you've seen this movie, you'll understand what I mean by that. But they can do all these amazing things, but they don't understand epilepsy still. So that's very interesting. So 56% for me, and in the spoilers, I'll talk a bit more as to why I gave it that score.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, let's move into spoilers.
Do you agree with me in that all the kids aren't that interesting and they each have the writer's stereotypical storyline? You got your older child that wants to please his father and is a good soldier, and then you got your second born that is a misguided, doesn't listen to any other and befriends a whale. And then you got your other girl, but she's adopted, and then she's this special character that has these special powers, and she knows who her mother is, but her father's a mystery. And then you got the youngest daughter that just runs away all the time. And then you got Spike that is also adopted and befriended in the clan, but his father's the villain. You got so much.
Well, they're just trying to add so many plots into this. I think the kids, it's inevitable they were going to have a family, but the kids became the main protagonist for things happening in this movie.
Yeah.
They go running, they get lost, they get in trouble. Every issue arises from the kids, where the simple things, if the kids weren't there or they were better behaved, then the story had nothing. So you've added the kids just to create some story. Just borrowing plot lines from other movies. Big brother looking after little brother getting in trouble. The special girl that, she's a half caste, but she's somehow got a special connection with a planet that she shouldn't have if she's a half caste, but she does. And, she'll eventually be the saving grace that, like connects everything. It's got like that kind of like Star Warsy vibe that, one of them's going to be the special Jedi that's going to connect the Force and all living things. Like, it's just borrowing another storyline, I just think the kids were not needed. They kept the storyline going, but I think I would have liked to have seen a better story than going, let's just add kids. And like the kids just, they go missing, they get in trouble, and we'll just make that can just be the whole story. They just happen to be Forrest the same time as the villains show up, and they're going to get, taken at ransom, but then they get saved, and then, and then he's coming back to get the kids, and the kids are always going to be used as leverage or a hostage. It's just, they're a prop for convenience. They're not really a character. So I think the kids, I would have liked a better storyline. I think, him trying to connect with different tribes, understanding their ways, but instead they use the kids as the reason for that, being able to connect with the water, and that's just cheap writing for me.
And who do you think the girl's father is? I think it's actually the Colonel, the villain, and they're going to do like, even though Spike and her like each other, it's going to be like, they can't because they're brother and sister.
I think it's going to be the other male scientist.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't know why the story's why that's not known, why it's a mystery. It's like she was never pregnant and she died, but somehow she gave birth without us knowing. Like, it doesn't make any sense, but I think it's going to have something to do with him. I don't know why that makes her a half-caste. Maybe
I have no idea.
Whilst he was a human, he's, slept with the Avatar version of the female. I don't know, but I think that's where it's heading, and they kind of allude to that when they're watching the video of them two, like the video logs, and they go, you could see that's who your dad is. Look how close they are. Look how they look at each other. So I think that's what they're alluding to.
How did you find that he left his tribe really easy, and then it's like, we've got to find a new tribe, and then like I said in the review, we basically learned new ways when they could have done it in the first film?
Yep, it makes absolutely no sense to me. For someone that seemed to want to protect his tribe at all cost, he goes, "Hey, there's these psychos after me. They will do anything to find me. I'm just going to leave all the people that I care for and hope that they're fine, and hope that the fact that I'm not near them that they'll leave them alone." Doesn't add up to me. I feel like it would have made more sense if he goes, "I'm not leaving them at any cost. Like I need to protect these people." No, he left them. Doesn't make any sense. He goes to this water tribe just to add water, purely just to add water. Like if this movie made any sense, he would have went to no tribe. They would have went and lived by themselves, rural with no one around. He had a whole family, could have defended for himself. You know, they would have been completely fine. But instead, he went and put someone else at risk. I don't buy it. He does not come across as someone that would put other people's lives at risk, you know, for his own benefit. It doesn't match up with what we've seen of him already or what they've built up as a character, that he's gone, yeah, I'll go here, I won't tell them why I'm here, and let's just hope the villain doesn't come after me. He knows they would have. He mentions that they're killers and they'll do anything. He even says, you know, he's got to, you know, come out of hiding because they will kill all these other islands. Why did he not fear the original tribe he was with? He feared that they would go hunting for him and take out these islands, but he had no fear whatsoever for the original tribe. Doesn't add up for me. I think a more likely plot line would have been him hiding and then the villain going after him, or him going after his original tribe and him having to come back and save them. But instead, we went to the water because, you know, it's pretty. It makes no sense to go there, but we'll go there. What do you think about the whole plot with the whale hunters?
The whale hunters. I said to you off camera, is wouldn't it make more sense to send all of your chips, all of your military force to hunt the wanted person, but instead they send a boat hunters to try and get the whales. It made no sense to me.
Exactly. They're after one person. Like he's the one that, you know, controls all the military that's been taking out their people. So they invest their best guys to kill him, but they don't want to give them enough resources to be able to do it themselves. Instead, they've got to, we just need to justify it. Let's add some boat people. And, well, why would they be there? Like, they clearly originally wanted some kind of mineral from the tree, but now they're like, well, we need a reason to be on the water. Oh, well, and now they're hunting whales. They've decided these whales, and they've somehow found out that these whales, they worked out how to catch them.
Yeah.
They worked out how to get this thing from them. And then they've also somehow worked that it stops people from aging. And even though it takes I think it was 12 years to get from Earth or 6 years to get back to Earth, they've somehow sent it back and worked out that this thing does this job already. And they've been funded to keep doing it. The timeline doesn't add up.
Did you guess that the storyline with the whole whale thing, that whale was going to be the one that was going to help them? Because I did. Why would you have this whale that's an outcast in the story if it's not the redemption arc? I saw that coming, but I found it weird why the other tribesmen hated the whale so much, because he was the survivor from his clan dying that made him an outcast.
I think it was a weird story arc. I like the idea that I thought it was better if they're like, oh, this whale, it's a dangerous creature, like no one can tame them, and he's the one person that's befriended one and actually worked out that he's friendly. But instead, they're all friendly except for this one, apparently. They don't like this one because, you know, people died whilst he was around and that blood's now on his hand, he's an outcast. I would have liked it if, you know, it was like some rare beast and there's only one of them and no one ever sees it and there's tales of it being, you know, a vicious killer and he's managed to tame one. But instead, every single person has one and they're all their friends, but not this one. And so I think they missed it there. I think it would have been better if he'd managed to tame the beast. You know, like in the first movie, how the main character tames the big flying dragon thing that, you know, is so dangerous that no one can tame except for one famous chief that did it. He's gone and tamed the water version of the same one, but no, he's just managed to befriend the one that no one liked, that everyone hated. Like, it's not special. I think they missed it there. I think that could have been cool. Instead, they made, again, that if they did that, then there wouldn't have been a reason for hunting whales, because if there's only one rare whale and it's quite dangerous, then, you know, they're not going to go hunt it. So doesn't add up for me. I think they missed to fix that storyline, they had to get rid of another one, which is obviously then ruins the whole movie. So could have been better.
So we're going to get 3 more avatars. Where do you see the storyline going for 3 more avatars?
Well, they're obviously going to pick a location that's
For the
pretty.
next one.
Yeah, so they're going to go, we'll go to the sand, we'll go underground, we'll go to the sky. Well, they'll pick something, something pretty. And then they'll make up some kind of rubbish story to try and accompany that so that we can go, oh, cool, look, it's pretty. So it's just backwards writing. So eventually you'll have to end with the humans retreating and not ever coming back, and then the planet belonging to, the Na'vi people, but they've got to go a real long-winded way to make that happen. But then even if they did, if they do have these precious resources, the humans will always come back. They'll always come back. The Na'vi don't have access to space. They're not going to attack Earth and say, leave us alone. Earth will eventually come up with enough resources that they could come and defend themselves against indigenous people that have bows and arrows. They would. So it doesn't make sense, but they'll make it pretty along the way, and they'll make it a simple storyline so that those that don't really appreciate movies or look into things will go, oh yeah, that use visual, it makes sense. They did this because of that. But if you break it apart, it's rubbish. It really is. Where do you think it's going to go?
I see Avatar 3 and 4 being 3 hours, but 6 hours, but it's really one movie. And then the third movie, what is really Avatar 3, finishing it off and the humans losing.
I think that Avatar missed the trick by trying to make us, feel for the humans. Instead, they make you hate them straight away. Which, that they're invading, I get that. But they really needed you to be on both sides. Because at the moment, we as humans are sitting there going, oh, we hate the humans, they're bad people. But you got to keep in mind, their planet is overpopulated.
And
dying. They need these resources. And, they weren't trying to kill the Na'vi. It was just that one colonel that was trying to kill them, and he was going to burn down the tree. All the others, they were actually they taught them English, which is one thing. How the hell does all these Na'vi know how to speak English? And they somehow communicate to whales as well, but they all can speak English. Like, I have no idea how they learned to speak English. I know that some of them did because there was an English-speaking school. That makes sense. But how did the people in the water learn to speak English?
I don't know.
It makes sense to me. So they taught him how to speak English. They gave him resources, helped them out. I get that. They asked him to politely move. They wouldn't do it. Then they, attacked him. But in general, the humans weren't necessarily that bad. They were just saying, can we please borrow some of your resources? But they were missing the fact that the Na'vi were like, no, you are never having our tree. We don't care. Like, it's special to us. So we actually weren't that bad. There was just a select group of people that were evil. Like, where do they continue on with that storyline?
For 3 more.
Yeah, do the humans just get nastier and nastier? Because to me, really, the Na'vi are killing the humans. The humans were flying their ships around, they weren't trying to take them out, but then their ships would get blown up. Like, they're actually, if you look at it, they're killing the humans who are not really necessarily doing much. They've just got this kind of base, and they're not, making planned attacks or taking too many resources. Except for they are attacking whales, but the water people at no point tried to defend themselves, which doesn't make sense either. Why wouldn't they try to take out the whale killers? I don't know. What do you think?
I think they're going to come up with random storylines so they can make 3 more movies instead of having a plan and us to actually want to watch them.
Do you think that the half-caste nature special girl with epilepsy is going to be the saving grace that's going to protect their planet somehow?
Of course, even though it doesn't make sense. Of course, you got to make unfortunately, you got female do it for empowerment, but it doesn't make sense with her storyline. Wouldn't make sense for someone that's been fully embraced in their culture to be the one?
Well, somehow foreigners tend to somehow have some special connection. Like, the main character was able to connect with, this special flying beast that no one could in the first one. And then, this hybrid breed female, she's going to, somehow magically connect with the nature. But she does have religious ecstasy, which comes with epilepsy, apparently. So it's classic epilepsy that, You know, she was able to do that. So that they can create avatars for people and stop aging, but epilepsy, they got no clue yet. In the future, no clue about epilepsy. They believe that if you can talk to the animals, and you can connect to Mother Nature, and you can, you know, see visions and premonitions. But she was the crazy one with religious ecstasy, because she reckoned she could hear the heartbeat of the trees. But that like, makes no sense. She was no different than the others, but she was labelled crazy. It's a bit, you know, doesn't make sense.
And with the person with epilepsy, when the scientist was saying, I'm like, you sure that's actually true? Like, I've never heard of anyone actually saying religion ecstasy can actually cause epilepsy. It's more the heat or other things like that.
Yeah, it's weird. You know, it just, to me, for a movie that spent, you know, so much money to make, the writing and some of the acting and even the dialogue just seems like it was written by, you know, some college students making a sci-fi film. I think it deserved a bit more of a finished touch, sadly, which is, you know, I don't know. I don't know why that wouldn't have been the case when it's had so much money to spend on it.
Did you notice the last ending scene when they were on the ship with the water was very much like Titanic?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just, I feel like it was a mix of a whole bunch of random movies.
He's done.
It's just, if you compare it to, you know, another...
Terminator.
Well, I was going to say something like Star Wars, you know.
Oh, Star Wars.
I know Star Wars is a lot bigger, but if you compare the writing and the politics within Star Wars, they're worlds apart, you know. They just miss the boat here. I think, you know, it's hard to compare something to Star Wars, but it just seems so cheap in comparison. It probably cost more to make, you know. Like, why is that? How did they get it so wrong?
Do you think it was worth your time or not?
No, I think the first movie alone was good enough. I think anything from here on in is just a money grab.
I would agree with that. I think it just should have been a one and done, and maybe they could have made like a TV show or something to condense the storyline, because, like, I'll give you a good example. The old debate between what's better, graphics or storyline. What is more important? I think Avatar is a perfect example of something can look great, but plot matters more.
Definitely. I think they could have, you know, I think a show could have worked, you know, if they wanted to show off how pretty the planet is, do it in
10 episodes,
spin-offs, mini-series. Don't even have to involve the main characters from the movie. Let their storyline be done. How about you just do some spin-offs? Like, that would have been fine. If we didn't see the main characters at all and we just saw these water people and the whole movie was about them trying to take out the people that were hunting the whales, that could have worked. It would have shown off the water. It would have been fine. We expand the universe in a logical sense. Now they're just trying to give reason. Like, well, now we're going to go to the desert. Now we're going to go here. Like, trying to expand it. Like, that's just a cheap way of expanding it. Like, it doesn't work for me. Where you look something like, you know, movies that have multiple, like franchise that have multiple movies, how they generally build to something. Yeah, Star Wars is a bit broken because it was written over so many decades. But ultimately, from the start to the finish, it builds to one final big story.
Harry
Potter does it very well. I don't know if she wrote all of them before she then had an ending in plan, but if you watch those movies in order, or you read the books, it all leads to something, and it all makes sense. It ties together. I'm sure there's critics that there's things they don't like about it, but it makes sense. It doesn't seem like, well, you know, we just want to make another one, so let's think of something. And I think this year has been the year of that for shows and movies.
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai was okay, but I think of things like One of Us is Lying, or even, I know it was maybe more than a year ago, Truth Be Told, they just seem like they've added a second season or a second book just because, and then they've written a storyline just to surround the idea of we must have a sequel, where sometimes you don't. And I think this is a good example of we didn't need a sequel. I think spin-off shows, even cartoons. Like, if you want to save money, make some cartoons. People like the Avatar world. I think it's pretty. You've just gone and spent millions of dollars on making nothing for the sake of it being pretty.
And 3 more times.
Yeah, so I think I will go see the next one, but I'm going to Probably not at the movies, to be honest. I'd rather watch it at home in multiple parts because I found myself quite bored in this one.
Well, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, share, hit the notification bell. As always, you're awesome. See you in the new year, and see you next time.